My study is about Pune Metro. Of late, whenever I've been coming to Delhi, I feel very happy that there's metro because it has made me a lot more mobile, and I hop in and hop out of metro all the time. Now, the same project by the same DMRC has come to Pune city, and in Pune city, it has attracted a lot of attention. There's a lot of debate. There's a lot of discussion on metro, and when I looked at the proposal, the metro proposal passed through the historic urban landscape of Pune city. And I was very surprised to know that there was not a single discussion or debate about what is its impact on heritage of Pune and what do we expect from this metro in the future. And that is what led me to this study. This study, for past 1 year, I've been looking at various aspects, lot of policies, how it has been, how urban planning process has been happening in Pune, and where does metro fit into it, as well as where does heritage fit into it, and where do I find heritage in the planning process. And in this presentation, however, I'm going to look at these aspects, which is Pune's accelerated expansion. Pune has been growing multifold. And there are emerging challenges of traffic and transportation, like any other metro city today. There is a metro project, and how is it linked to heritage? How is heritage, especially the local heritage, because in various legal enactments, which we have the direct enactments, lead to looking at national monuments as well as the state protected monuments. But when we look at local heritage of a city that defines the city, that gives it its character, and you say Pune is different from Mumbai and Delhi, these aspects are somewhere linked to this project, and their future is quite uncertain. Then studying the implementation gaps in the process of urban planning that also affects heritage conservation, and bringing heritage urban landscape approach to looking at Pune Metro and its implication. This is Pune city from January, and this is the kind of problems we are having with regards to traffic and transportation situation. As you see, in the year 2006 to 2016, the cars, the four-wheelers on the road have increased to 43%. The two-wheelers is 144%, but the population is growing at the rate of 24%. What happened is, way back in 2001, this was somewhere realized, and the Pune Municipal Corporation commissioned Rights Private Limited to have a travel demand analysis. In this travel demand analysis, they established that the roads are inadequate and we need a rail-based high-capacity rapid transit system. After which the PMC hired DMRC and told them to have a metro planned along 30 kilometers of length, total length. And that's how in 2008 we had the first proposal for metro, which attracted a lot of public attention. Next. Now, what is this metro proposal? The reason we need to understand this metro proposal is how we will understand the way it links to heritage. This is a public sector mode. It has two corridors. Both these corridors have an intersection point. So they run north, south, and east, west. Metro has an exclusive right over other modes of transport. So obviously it is overground or underground. The whole public sector project costs 11,522 crores. This has been revised. When it was first proposed, it was around 7,900 crores. Then the discussion and debate continued, it persisted. In 2014, the estimates had escalated 45% and had become to 10,869 crores. It continued, persisted, and again DMRC gave another estimate in November 2015, which was 11,522 crores. Now, this particular estimate is merely an engineering proposal. Along with this will come a lot of urban infrastructure, which will have to enhance accessibility to the metro, and therefore a lot of urban transformation. Basically, the entire landscape will be transformed in order to support metro, because otherwise it will not become economically viable. And therefore this amount that you are seeing is only engineering proposal, and it will have some costs with regard to how to compensate for land acquisition or any other things like felling of trees and so on. Now, how will this be funded is very interesting. The metro will be funded by the state and the center. The center has said that the prerequisites for funding metro is that you need to have densification, you need to have other avenues to earn money. So you need to have densification along the metro line. So wherever the metro will ply, the zone 500 meters to either of its side is the metro influence zone. Why is it influence zone? Because typically it is found in studies elsewhere that 500 meters is not a problem for people to walk to access a metro or a bus or any public transport. Therefore 500 meters is where the maximum transit oriented development will happen. Now this 500 meters will see densification. So what have we done? We've distributed 4 FSI in that particular metro corridor, which will mean that there will be amalgamation of properties, there will be increased land prices, and this increased land prices will be encashed by metro, by sales and rentals and so on. And eventually there will also be an additional income. If you have vacant property, you will be penalized. Now these are suggestions which are given, not that they have actually been proposed, but this will have to there will have to be some ways to augment the income to the metro in order to fund the metro, or in order to generate some economic viability out of it. So therefore there will be levying of taxes, fuel taxes, parking taxes, property taxes, residential and commercial areas. Now why would this be? Is also because it is found that when the properties are very close to the metro line, they have the highest benefit. Why highest benefit? Because it is assumed that the commuters have to have the ease of metro so that they can travel to wherever their workplaces are and therefore benefit from it. At the same time, the commercial advantage, the commercial properties have better advantage even beyond metro influence zone. Now this means that there will be an irreversible change of urban landscape, because you will force the properties to amalgamate, because how else? So in Pune there have been a lot of different studies, including the one by Janwani, where they have shown the 3D simulation of this, that how will it look, what are the different options that we will have in the metro influence zone. Interestingly, the metro proposal states that in the phase 1, the metro traverses through already developed city area, which is in fact the historic landscape of Pune, which are the pet areas of Pune. So Pune has a core city, and as you know that Pune was a seat of Maratha power. So which also actually later on will link to someone who raised the question, I don't know why Paithani, has become, how come people from Tamil Nadu have come here to Maharashtra. A lot has to be owing to the Maratha dominance in the region. And the seat of that Maratha power was Pune. And Marathas resettled Pune, and the core area was called Pet areas. Later on, British built the cantonment areas. So we have these areas through which the metro is passing. They are the already developed areas, and therefore there is limited scope for any radical changes. So obviously the metro admits that there is radical changes which have to be brought in if you need to make metro viable. Now, this will provide impetus to the renewal of old and dilapidated city areas and bring about desired densification. What does this mean? This basically means that the old dilapidated buildings will either have to be erased or redeveloped in the way that it fits into the development control rules of the metro. All this is about the historic urban landscape. So whether the metro is socially desirable, whether it is environmentally feasible or suitable, is something which is totally out of the scope of this particular project. The reason for that is obviously because metro is not a vision statement. It is merely an engineering proposal. This is how in the study the metro lines were superimposed on a heritage map. So now how is this map created? There is a list by PMC that was created of heritage structures in Pune. These heritage structures are mapped over here, whatever was possible. It was seen that 40 odd structures are missing. There is most of the structures don't even have proper proper the addresses and so on and so forth. So there was a bit of a problem mapping this. And what you see over here is this entire dotted line along the central line is the metro influence zone, which passes through the Pate area. Now here I must say that underground, overground doesn't matter, because the development control rules do not distinguish between the underground or overground. So the property prices or the property issues are going to remain irrespective of that. What is the kind of impact that the urban landscape is going to have is it was found that 46% of the listed heritage sites are directly affected. Most of these are, by the way, residential buildings. There are also large number of religious and educational institutions. Major educational institutions are actually part. All the institutions which Pune takes pride in telling the rest of the world. Then there are 46 grade 1 structures, grade 3 structures, grade 2, 36 grade 2 structures. Interestingly, all 3 national monuments which are there in Pune are in the metro influence zone. Now, to avoid that, the discussion was mainly about let's take it underground and it will solve the problem. But the truth is, if you actually see, these sites are very much in the heart of the city, and if the rest of the landscape changes, I don't know how we are going to be able to protect the national monuments as well. There are also litigation issues. There are there will be a lot of litigation issues once this comes into being. Interestingly, the Wari pilgrimage, which has been happening for 300 years, it has used the same route which passes through Pune city, and lakhs of people in Maharashtra start their pilgrimage to Pandharpur. That Wari stations, the first point is in Pune city, and which is right in the metro influence zone. So when you take up construction activities, for years it goes on, and with the stays and so on, it further delays. And all this is affected due to the metro. Now, 600 mature trees will fell. This is something that even a metro is saying. The second part that I've come to is that how these policies, now you have the urban planning, you have urban transport planning. Urban planning and urban transport planning somewhere are not integrated. Ideally, what happens is the local heritage gets covered in the MRTP Act or different acts which actually strengthen the city planning. So when a city is planned and these acts are supporting the plans, the heritage conservation and preservation is part of these. The direct legal enactments are mostly only for the national monuments, and therefore as you see over here, this is an entire setup of how when you're planning a city, the city is growing, the plan is supported by different acts, and these acts do mention heritage. Thus you have a heritage conservation committee which was appointed. We had the listing was done, modifications were suggested which were never incorporated. The last development plan that the city has had is in 1987. We have another plan which was proposed in 2013, which has still not come through. This is how the metro project has been proposed. Interestingly, the Environment Protection Act does not support metro environmental impact assessment. So metro is out of this environmental impact assessment, and certainly heritage conservation or heritage impact assessment is not in the purview. These are all the violations that I have listed, which is for you to read. Different violations which the metro proposal. So it's basically a superimposition and has been proposed as a vision document. However, a lot of vision documents have come after the metro proposal was proposed in order to support the metro proposal. So to make it really happen, because as you see, it has direct impact on the land prices, and therefore the builders are the ones who are obviously bound to be benefited. Now, whole study is not about what exactly is going to happen with metro coming into picture. The study is about how it happens. The next slide. Therefore, what you actually get into the study is analysis of a lot of 15 different reports which were brought in by urban planners, engineers and so on, were analyzed. Then there was a detailed critique of what heritage plan proposed in the draft DP of 2013, what it means. The listing and mapping of heritage was done, and Pune's historic urban landscape, what it means, is also included. So all this is part of the study, and therefore in the last 1 year the study actually focused on how it is very, although heritage is integrated in urban planning process, institutionalizing heritage has become a bit of a difficulty, and how when projects like metro come into the picture, the heritage, the local heritage of a city definitely stands to get eradicated. Yes. Thank you.